What's up, everyone? Welcome back to Line of the Stars. I'm Jordan, and we're back today with another episode of the DeAgostini Millennium Falcon from Fanhome. And every time I say that, it still feels like a mouthful because it is. And we're here today as I make myself laugh. God, I'm an idiot. I appreciate you guys. We're here today to build stages 38 and 39 of the Falcon build. And my friends, this is another big stage. Like, we have done a lot of work lately. We've done some serious catching up on both of our part work models for the last couple weeks. And to culminate with the Falcon right now, because this is as far as we can go. I can't go any further. Stage 39 is where we stop until I get the stage 32 parts, and that is totally fine. I've got stuff to do. I got other models to build. It's totally fine. We still have like another 8 or 9 stages sitting around. Just saying. But there's not much I can do after that because the next stage, in stage 40, we're going to be connecting this to the main frame. And there's really, I can't do that until we get stage 32. So, that being said, however, this episode is a pretty big deal. And the reason for that is we're going to be creating the ramp that is motorized for this build. And it is going to be a really complicated and, let's just say, technical section. One that I may or may not be prepared or ready to do. But hey, as I've been recording all day, let's just get to it, shall we? So, first things first is we're going to go ahead and start with stage 38, which is kind of a big and important stage in and of itself, as there's going to be a lot of fine building, fine, like, little detail work. So, let's go ahead and get started, shall we? All right, so stage 38 starts with us finishing grabbing all the parts from stage 37, as I mark that up there in the corner. Isn't that nice? Nice little way of keeping things organized. From here, we're going to be grabbing the LED strip and then the outer frame for, or I guess it would be the whole panel that goes around the ramp that lowers. And man, this is a really cool piece. Take a look at the detail on that. Like on the perfect grade, we probably would have put that together in like 4 or 5 different little greeblies. I think I just built that part recently, actually, now that I think about it. These are different Falcons. They're based on different models. But if that was on the perfect grade, that would have been several little greeblies we had to put on. But that is all one piece. The weathering on it is okay. There's good panel liner in there. I'm not really going to worry about that too much. But yeah, we're definitely going to be adding some paint to this and weathering as we go along. So let's go ahead and get the package off to the side. Get our stuff off to the side from 37, and let's go ahead and get stage 38 opened up. We're not going to be saving anything from this stage, so let's go ahead and get it open all the way. And let's just go ahead and carefully dump everything out. We do not want to be, I'll just double check to make sure I have everything. We do not want to be all just willy-nilly with all the parts here in these stages because these are mechanical pieces that we need to make sure we're taken care of properly. Okay, so here's our ramp. Here's a bunch of our actuators, and these are going to be super cool to put together. More parts of the actuators and the arms and all the different little pieces that we're going to be using. Oh my god, you guys. Set pins. I'm going to have to deal with set pins. Definitely going to be busting out the helping eyes on that one. We have a sprue with different, latching mechanisms that we're going to be using for pivoting. And then we have our all-metal pieces. So, let's go ahead and get unpackaged, and I will be right back. All right, so here are all our pieces for this stage, and it's a lot. We haven't had to put this many pieces together since we're doing a lot of stages all at once. And this is all just going to encompass 2 different stages. We're going to be doing some painting. We're going to be doing a bunch of different stuff. So let's go ahead and get started with stage 38. And we're going to start with that by installing our LED into our frames. So first things first, well, hold on. Is that correct? It is. I'm turning the page even though I don't need to. So I'm going to go ahead and set that off to the side real quick. We're going to go ahead and grab our LED, and we're not going to unbundle it, okay? What we're going to do is we're going to start at the, turn this around here. We're going to go ahead and turn this to the side, flip this over, and then we're going to go ahead and attach it to this frame piece, these two frame pieces right there. Right. So we're just going to go ahead and peel off the backing. There we are. My big stupid fingers always make peeling off the backings difficult. All right. We're going to go ahead and get that affixed into place, just like that. Everything pressed down. And then, there it is. The first part of stage 38 is complete. Just getting the LED affixed into place, just like that. And I'm going to make sure to go through and make sure everything's all stuck down real nice. Real nice. There we go. All right, let's go ahead and move on to the next part of stage 38. So we're going to go ahead and move this frame off to the side now. All right, so we're going to start out by attaching this piece, part number 4. And it has a couple little mounting spots right there. We're going to be putting a connection over the top of that. And right there. And then there's a couple of lugs right here for a swivel point. We're going to go ahead and set that like this. And then, very simply, and I say very simply, connect that up just like this so that it can swivel like that. All right, so let's go ahead and get these together. I'm going to go ahead and start by taking a little bit of our glue. And I'm going to use my new favorite super glue on a brush. If I can grab it. There we are. A couple little spots. Just like that. We get that into place, kind of, sort of. Quickly get that lined into its spot. Oh no. There we are. There we are. Oh, no. There it is. It's kind of a fiddly little part. An auspicious start, but that's fine. I'm going to go ahead and hold this together for just a minute, and we will be right back. All right, so now that that has been attached and glued in place, I went ahead and sanded it down because we are about to do some painting here in just a moment. So, first things first, we need to make sure that this closes and opens. It does. It's not a very strong connection, so I imagine that I'm not going to be opening and closing it very often. So what we're going to do is I'm going to go ahead and grab some tape, and I'm going to go ahead and mask off around the outside of this area here, along here, and along the sides. And when we come back, we're going to go ahead and airbrush a mid-gray. We'll be right back. All right, our parts are all taped off. We have our paint mix. I actually don't have a mid-gray, which I'm kind of surprised about if I'm being real. A little bit of a split in my paper towel there, so I don't make too much of a MacGuffin here. Let's go ahead and just kind of do one of those. There we go. So I just took some of our Royal Light Gray, added some NATO Black to it, and just darkened it up a little bit. So let's go ahead and get started. We're all taped off as well. Make sure we're flowing. We are. And this should be pretty simple. So I'm wondering about the fact that we can see these little circles here from the mounting points, or the molding points, excuse me. So, curious. We may do something about that down the line. All right, I'm going to go ahead and let that dry for about 15 minutes or so, and we will be right back. All right, so while we wait for that to finish drying, let's go ahead and assemble our hinge, which is going to be a little bit of a complicated build. And for that, we're actually busting out some Loctite. Well, I went to the hardware store, not the hardware store, but the auto parts store. They didn't have like Loctite, but this is Thread Locker. And we're going to use this today on our build to make sure that the threads that or the screws that we're about to install, nice, um, don't move because we need them to be able to stay in place so they stay on a pivot. So let's go ahead and get started. And we're going to grab the 4 pieces here. So we have these 4 pieces right here, and these are what make up the hinge. We got a couple arm pieces. So we're going to go and set all these down. Let's go ahead and zoom in a little bit here. Get in real close so you can see what we're doing. And what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and set these up how they show it in the photo. Like that, and like that. Okay. So now we're going to go ahead and grab this piece and we're going to go ahead and install it like this, making sure to put some thread locker, and then we're not going to tighten these all the way down. We'll grab our thread locker here. It looks like we had a little bit of a drip action here. I had to mix it up. I almost created a huge mess, as you guys see. Go ahead and get that top off there. Yeah, I definitely almost created a huge mess. Okay. See if I can do this without making a gigantic mess. We're going to go ahead and just put a tiny little bit of thread locker on the piece, on the screw. Goodness me. Things are just kind of happening here right now. Trying to be very careful here. So, we're going to go into the back screw hole. Get that all the way in. Get that all the way in. And then we're going to go ahead and get that there. And these ones we're going to go all the way in. Thread locker is going to be important for keeping these in place. Let's grab another button screw. What I'm thinking about doing, dropping a little bit of that there, getting this cleaned up. My goodness me. And we'll set that off to the side with all of our other chemicals. And we'll just go ahead and dip. We're going to go and dip that into the thread locker. Got a bunch of it on my fingers, so I'm just going to make sure we get it on there. Get that one into place. Just like that. We're going to do the same thing on the other side. All right, so there is our piece put together. That's what that looks like. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and turn it over so it looks like this. And then here is where it's important that we use the thread locker, is we're going to go ahead and put this piece over the top. Oh, almost have that in the wrong position. Over the top just like this. And then we need to make sure that this is able to pivot up and down. So we're going to go ahead and grab one of our black button screws. And without messing this up, I'm going to get this into place first. All right, it is in place. Into the thread lock. And we are not, of course, we are not going to screw this all the way in. We're only going to go about that far in. Maybe a little bit further in. There we go. And that's it. So the purpose of the thread lock is to get it so it doesn't move ever again. Now, I've heard that this mechanism is a little janky. So hopefully the thread locker here is going to help us with that jankiness in the future. So into our thread lock. Get this positioned properly. Get that in there. There we go. And then the same distance on this side. So this should move now. Free and easy. Seems like there are a couple, I don't know if those are magnets or not, but it's a stopper. So there we are. Those are nice and put in place. Go ahead and tighten them down just a little bit more. Should be able to move free and clear, but we don't want it to be like super loose either. All right, so there's that. Let's go ahead and bring back the part that we painted and see how that turned out. Get that there. So there's our part that we painted. It's still probably a little bit tacky, but that's fine. Let's go ahead and get our tape off. All right, so there it is. And I got to be honest, that turned out pretty good. Although I'm kind of curious if I should have painted the inside of that gray. And maybe should have, but yeah, it's fine. When it's going to be down, it'll be like that. I may come back later and I won't be able to color match that though. So that is what it is. All right. Excellent news. I love it. Looks great. Let's go and get our thread lock out of the way. And now what we're going to do is we're going to simply just go through and test fit our piece into place. We're going to make sure that everything looks good and everything lines up. We may need to do some sanding if it doesn't. But the one thing I did forget to do was we need to go back to the beginning here and we need to go ahead and get our mounting points hooked up. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and get each one of these connected into its place. And to simply do that, we are going to go ahead and put a little bit of CA right here, right there, and right there. Then this simply just fits into place, just like so. Then I'm going to go ahead and hold this in place for just a moment, and we'll be right back. All right, so there we go. Now let's go ahead and try fitting this into place. And I got to be honest, that looks like it fits in perfectly. Got a little bit of tape sitting out right there. Let's go ahead and get that off. All right, so that's had a chance to dry. Let's go ahead and get this fitted into place, see how it looks. Oh, yeah. So got that set in there, right? There it is. Oh yeah, no, that looks great. It's perfect. Fits perfectly. Don't need to do any trimming. So let's go ahead and move on. Awesome. All right, so being that that fits right into place, let's go ahead and get this installed. And we're just going to slide this over the top here and that over the top there. And then over their mounting points. And then we're going to go ahead and mount that using 8 of our self-tapping screws. And these are basically flanged self-tapping screws. I'm going to go ahead and get these 8 installed, and I will be right back. All right, so our last screw is going into place. Now let's go ahead and take a look to see how that turned out. Huh, it works really well. Very cool. That was a kind of a complicated hinge. I had to kind of reset myself a couple of times. But there's that. And that, my friends, is the end of stage 38. And we're going to go ahead and move on to stage 39, where we're going to go ahead and get this fixed into place and get our motor hooked up. Stage 39 coming up. All right, so for stage 39, we are kind of in for some very fine detail work. So what we're going to have to do is assemble all 4 of our actuators, and we have 2 different sizes. We have the 2 larger and then the 2 smallers. Obviously, the smaller ones are going to go towards the back, with the larger ones being at the very front of the ramp. So let's go ahead and get started. We're going to go ahead and need all of our pieces, and we're going to go ahead and start with the larger ones. And let's go ahead and get everything out. So let's make sure we have our pieces lined up properly. Those are the smaller ones, bigger ones, and bigger ones. Now, what we need to do is grab one of our actuators, or the RAM, so to say. We're going to go ahead and position our piece, right? Just like this. Then there is one end that has a nail head, very small nail head, but that is the one end that does have the nail head. And then what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and position this through the oval at the very top. We're going to go ahead and push this into the hole in this cylinder. We want to make sure that it will go up and down in a straight line. Right? Yep. It's not a very deep hole, is it? No. Okay. So, want to make sure that it will go up and down in a straight line. So, we're going to go ahead and grab through the oval hole, once again repeating the process. Going ahead and getting this into, I see, so we want to make sure that we have a right side and a left side. So let's go ahead and treat this as the right side, and we'll do this one as the left side. There we are, just like that. And just to make sure, up and down, we're good to go. Oh, I wanted to pop off there. And I think it says that we can glue it for extra security. I think I want to glue it for some extra security. So I'm just going to go ahead and grab some of my brush CA here. Get it onto my pin vise. And get it into the hole there real fast. Have this one set up that way. Make sure it's pushed all the way in. We're good to go. That one is facing left. And let's go ahead and get this one glued in for security as well, just in case, because it does want to come off very easily. Into the hole. And go ahead and give it a turn around just like that. And there we are. And we have our pieces all set up. Well, it doesn't want to stay exactly the way it shows on the screen or on the on the page. So I believe we're going to do the same thing for the smaller ones now. I'm going to go ahead and assemble the two smaller ones, and I will be right back. Okay, both of our actuator sets are assembled. Let's go ahead and grab our sprue. We're going to go ahead and clip a couple pieces off here. We're going to clip the 4 ram pivots off the sprue, leaving the ram pivot in place, which is likely going to be this one. So we're going to go ahead and clip these 4 off. I'm going to go ahead and clip these off, get them cleaned up, and we will be right back. All right, our parts are cleaned up, and just so you can see what they look like, it is a really tiny little piece. So what we're going to do, oh boy, this is going to be a bit of a challenge, my friends. We are going to go ahead and grab one of our pins. So we're going to take this pin and somehow, very carefully, get it into the outside of the actuator here. I'm going to go ahead and grab my duck-billed pliers, flat photo etch pliers that don't have any ribbing on them. I'm going to go ahead and press fit that into place. Then, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the inner half of the ram pivot here. Let's go ahead and zoom in. And just like this, we're going to go ahead and click this over the top. Oop. And position it in place, just like so. We want to make sure that it does pivot, which it does. Okay, so there we are. Now, I'm going to do this for the other 3 actuators, and I will be right back. Okay, somehow, without losing one, and I thought I did for half a second, but without losing one, I got all of our little pieces put in place. Oh boy, let's go ahead and move on. This has been a long recording session. I'm actually kind of surprised by that, if I'm being real. So, let's go ahead and slide some of our stuff up the side. We're going to go ahead and need to get this removed here a quick sec. So we'll go ahead and get this off of its sprue. Get it cleaned up real quick. There we are. We're all cleaned up, ready to roll. Okay, now let's go ahead and get stage 39 opened up. Like, we started moving on to stage 39, but hadn't opened the package yet. It's been a long day of recording, my friends. I don't know what I'm doing anymore. Let's just go ahead and get this done. We're almost done recording for the day and for the week, which would be really nice, actually. Getting all my stuff done. It's really awesome. All right, so let's go ahead and get our motor out. Go ahead and give this a look-see. And then down underneath here, where did it go? And here, you have a couple of pivot pins that I almost just threw away. My goodness me. Get that out of the way. All right, so now let's go ahead and set our frame section on top right here. And there's going to be several mounting points here, and you'll see them line up. And we will get them pressed down into place. And for the first time, my friends, we are about to attach permanently a hull section to our frame. So what we're going to go ahead and do is use 8 silver tapping screws. I'm going to go ahead and get them started here. Go ahead and show you here real quick. Start one up here in the corner, and then I'm going to do the other 7 and be right back. Okay, something I learned during the process of getting these whole panels attached is you really need to go through and press them down because I wasn't able to get some of my screws attached and I was starting to get a little concerned. So now that I've gotten that put into place, I'm going to go ahead and get my 8 screws back and we will be right back. All right, our last screw is going into place. Very cool. There we are. That's what that looks like. Oh, you guys, super cool. And if we want to, before we install the motor, we can go ahead and open and close that. Very cool. And it stays in place. Very nice. Excellent. Okay, so now let's go ahead and install the ramp motor. And in order to do so, what we're going to do is start with this piece here. And it is going to get attached. Where are you? There is a little arm piece right here, and this goes in and out like this to lower and raise the lift, or the the ramp. Getting late, my friends. What we're gonna do? Go ahead and get this opened. Get our set pins in place. They did give us an extra one just in case, but not one of the smaller ones, which is weird, being real. We go ahead and grab one of our set pins. We're going to start it on the outside. I got it's not one of the smaller ones. Just use my hands for this one. Start it like that, get it threaded in. And then what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and get it positioned into place. Get it through this point, being careful not to move the arm. And then I'm going to use my ductile pliers. Get everything lined up properly. And get our piece, our pivot point, all assembled. Excellent. Then what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and apply a spot of glue right down here onto the little mounting point. You see the little lug right there? Right there. Oh no. And then what we're going to do is plug that into the matching port right here. A little white piece, or the body molded piece. And we're going to go ahead and press that into place. I don't know how, but sure. All right, that happened to actually sit on its spot. I'm going to go ahead and hold that in place and not move it, and we will be right back. All right, let's had a chance to dry for a minute, and it'll continue to dry because we're not going to be moving that. So let's go ahead and secure our motor in place with 4-button screws, the black button screws. And we're just going to go ahead and get that into place. Do not over torque these. You don't want to damage the motor or get it out of place. And our final screw. Excellent. All right, so our motor is now fixed into place, and now we get to install the actuators, which is going to be pretty damn cool, actually. So we're going to take the left outer actuator, which is going to be this bad boy. And what we're going to do is apply a spot of glue. I'm going to go ahead and bust out our brush glue. Get some glue onto the couple of points right there at the very bottom. Now, get that positioned down. Get that into its spot, and I'm going to use a pair of tweezers to help guide that. All right. That's positioned in place. Fantastic news. I'm going to hold that in place for just a moment. We'll be right back. All right, that's had a chance to dry. Let's go ahead and grab 2 button screws, black button screws. And we're going to simply put this in place, get the mounting arm in its proper position, and very carefully get our screws screwed into place. I say, very carefully. There we go. I'm going to do one partially. Get the second screw in there. Get it tightened down, and then get the second screw tightened down. So there is our actuator put in place. I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing with the other 3, and I will be right back. So, all right, here is what we have done today. We have gotten our actuators put in place. We've gotten our motor put in place. We've assembled our entire ramp and got it mounted to our frame. And I got to say, this took a long time. As of right now, and I'm at about an hour and 50 minutes for the recording time. And that's for taking time to make sure that I have everything all situated and clean my airbrush and all the rest. But this was definitely an incredibly complicated build and one that I'm really glad that we got past. And so I don't know when we're going to see this again. We may be working again here soon. I don't get charged until mid-month or so for the Falcon. And so, or is it right around the first of the month? So actually, I should be charged here fairly soon. With that being said, however, we probably won't be getting it for a couple of weeks. And so hopefully we get our next parts in stage 32 so we can go and get this mounted up and move on to the next big phase of our build as we march on towards the halfway mark on this entire model. So that's what I got for you today, and I just want to say thank you. I know that there was a million things y'all could have done today. Instead, you spent a couple minutes with me watching me build a model, which I think is pretty damn cool. If you guys have any questions or comments, tips, tricks, please leave them down below. If you'd like to support the channel, please like and subscribe. And my friends, until we see each other again, I hope you all have a wonderful day in this beautiful world wherever you happen to be. And just remember that the Force is one with you, and that you are one with the Force.